All right, so we're here to talk about bleed, and I'm going to show you some stuff. I have this handy little graph that I made here throughout some testing I did with bleed damages and the values that go into it. So first of all, first step with bleed in Evrima, your stamina, your food, and your water affect how much bleed damage you take, as well as your speed. So with each of these, we have a before and we have an after. Now, the before is meant to show you what my food, stamina, and water were at when I take the bleed damage, because that is what affects how much bleed damage you take, what these are at when you take the damage. So we have the befores, and then we have the afters showing the percentages, and then whether we were walking, running, walking, standing, any of that. Okay, so what do we want to look at first? We could go here. Okay, fully full on everything, stam, food, and water. Okay, walking versus out of everything on food and water and stam, walking. The difference between the damage, 79.02% to 49.5%. So this is done with one Utah pouncing until it falls off, and then I walk, right? So that's a 30% difference in damage from being fully healthy and fully empty and walking, right? So your food, water, and stamina are crucial when it comes to bleed. You need to keep them up. That's what this number, the difference between these numbers shows you, okay? So we also have some other comparisons that we can make here. For example, the difference between speeds. So here we have full stam, zero food, zero water, running versus full stam, zero food, zero water, walking, right? So with the running, we ran till we were out of stam, and then when the stam would regenerate enough for us to run, we would keep running. And the difference between these two, and this is just the speed difference, mind you, was about a 10% damage increase between running and walking. And then we also have these two over here, which we can compare the difference between walking and standing, right? So completely empty, completely empty. This is walking 49%, okay? 49% damage. Standing still, 74% blood pool left, okay? With the same before stats. That's a 24% difference in damage, okay? Whether you're walking or standing still, okay? So I didn't actually test Z-Walk. I have before. It makes a difference. It's about the same increment between like how walking and running is 10% with the same stats. It kind of makes sense that it would go running down 10% to walking, down 10% to Z-Walk, and then down the 10% to standing still, 10% less damage. So now we know what affects bleed and how much damage it's doing, right? We know the factors involved. So how do we deal with bleed? And one thing I will mention that throughout some of the testing I did, it seemed like there's a slight lean in how much damage you receive with a stamina. And what I mean is, if you're lower stamina, it actually hurts a little bit more than not having food or water, but only slightly. And I'm talking like maybe a 2 or 3% lean in the stamina's direction. So just a little bit more. It's a little bit heavier than the food and water. But now we'll go on. How do we manage and deal with bleed, like when we are being fought? So using what we know, we want to keep our stamina high, right? At most times. If we know we're going to get into a fight, you want your stamina, your food, and your water to be as full as they can be, right? You don't want to be running around using unnecessary attacks, running around at no stam. If you take bleed when you have no stam, you are in trouble, okay? So that is the goal, is to keep yourself topped off on stam and play kind of conservatively and safely, right? To keep yourself at the top edge of receiving less damage, right? Especially fighting bleeders like Utahs, okay? You want to conserve that stam. And this applies to any dinosaur, right? Secondly, standing still. Huge, okay? Huge difference in the amount of damage. So when you're bleeding, don't start running around. Even if you're walking, you're going to take more damage, right? We've already seen this. A huge difference between standing still and walking bleed damage. You want to stay as still as you can. If you're fighting Utahs, for example, and we'll go more over how to like deal with Utahs in a different video, because this is just the bleed video, you know, it's not about Utahs. But like if you're fighting Utahs and you take a pounce, right? You want to stand as still as you can. You want to get to terrain and all that stuff. And utilize that, but you want to stand as still as you can, conserve your stamina, and wait out that bleed. Because if you're standing still, it's not gonna do nearly as much, right? You'll be able to fight and wait for it to go out and then get it healed up a little bit. You gotta turtle is the term that I like to use. So yeah, that's pretty much the factors that affect bleed. So keep your stats up, keep good diet, because that helps heal your blood pool when you do get the plus sign. Okay. Keep your food and your water as high as you can, and you will have a much easier time dealing with bleed damage. So hope this helps you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, or have done maybe your own testing. Let me know in the comments, and swing by Twitch sometime, hang out. We have a good time over there, testing dinos, doing dino stuff, playing the game. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh man, I forgot one thing. I'm tacking this on just at the end. Okay, these stand food and water also affects how long you bleed for, okay? So if these are lower, you're going to be bleeding for longer, right? Which kind of accounts for, you know, the damage. So in these tests, I was bleeding with 1 Utah pounce and bucking anywhere from like 1:30 to like 2:45 in kind of that range. So that's kind of what you can expect in waiting out bleed, okay, for that plus sign. And I hope you get it. All right, this is the actual end of the video. See you in the next one. Bye. Oh, he's going for this 10-0. Oh my god, they're all coming. I'm just not gonna move. Oh my god. They just don't even see me. Don't move, Nin.
I'm so scared.
I'm scared too.
I'll lead them away.
Maybe. They're gonna eat this 10-0 body fast. Bro.